Hope Channel, changing lives.
Hello and good evening. It's a beautiful Tuesday and I am so glad today is the last day in January and tomorrow we are starting February. God has been gracious to us and so we need to say thank you, Father, for protecting us. The program is Love at Home. On Love at Home, we discuss every individual because we all need to come up, understand our roles so that there'll be love, there'll be joy, there'll be peace in our families. This is what Love at Home seeks to bring to you. And today is another beautiful day and we are counted to be blessing unto others. You are welcome to Love at Home. My name is Pr Samuel Larmie. I am your usual host who has been coming up with you on Love at Home. It is time. Remind your friends that Love at Home is on your screens. It is on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and you can also reach us on 0559680066. This is Love at Home. You are welcome. Today, I have a very important personality, a man with so much or so many experiences to share. Today, we are discussing how somebody was able to be a father, to be a husband, to be a church leader, and was still able to go along and do God's work. He's going to share with us. And it is no other than Pastor Dr. Samuel Larmie. Yes, you are surprised. That is the one you are going to have on our show. Pastor, you are welcome.
Thank you.
I don't know if I should still call you a young man or I don't know what to say because you are looking young even though you say you are on retirement.
I'm grown up.
Yeah, yes, I know that. Pastor, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Pastor, I am so happy to have you on my show because when I put you on Facebook, people are like, this man has so much to give. I can't afford to miss this man. So I'm sure so many people are watching you. And I'm sure you have impacted so much into people's lives. So they want to know who you are. So Pastor, if you say Pastor Dr. Samuel Larmie, who is he?
Oh, he's a retired minister of the gospel. Retired administrator of the Church Ghana Union. And also later on the Southern Ghana Union.
Okay.
I was the president there and served. So I was the first servant.
Okay.
In both Ghana Union and also the Southern Ghana Union. I was born in a very humble way. I come from a very humble family. I grew up in a village. In those days, Odoko was a village. Today, it's like a part of the city. But in those days, in the 50s, it was a village. And I know a lot of village activities, as it were. I love to plant things. And I became an Adventist at a time the Lord wanted me to become an Adventist. By my immediate senior brother inviting me to, he had become an Adventist, inviting me. And he kept consistently invite me, so I said, okay, let me go once and finish. Then I came to church with him once. My aim was once. That day, unfortunately or fortunately, they were treating the subject Sabbath.
Okay.
And they were quoting from the scriptures left and right, every little breath. And I got convinced. In fact, before we ended the service that day, I was ready for baptism.
That's great. Praise be to God.
It sank into me so much. I went home. I was a footballer. There's practice to go.
You mean you play football?
I'm a good footballer, football captain.
Wow. That's good.
It was my game.
Okay.
And I went to the park. I stood at the touchline I was waiting for the sun to go down. When the sun was down, I entered the park to play. So, but we are closing. I said, I couldn't explain myself.
Yeah.
That has brought me to this day.
Wow. He was just invited. And he said, just for today, I'm sure just for the brother to be happy. But
Yes.
but our Savior, Master Jesus, caught him. And now he's a servant to God. Thank you. Pastor, now let's understand something. Tell us something small about your background. How many were you growing up? How was home or your family like growing up?
Growing up, I grew up among a family of 27.
27?
Yes,
Really?
we are many. And my mother alone gave birth to 12.
Wow.
And
Grandma, congratulations.
oh, she's dead and gone.
Oh.
She died at the age of 102, in spite of giving birth to 12.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And she's gone.
Wow.
But my siblings are there. Some are gone, but quite a number of them are still there. And that's where I was born. I grew up from among them. At a certain point, I had the opportunity to go to secondary school, and then out of the secondary school came the opportunity to do any course higher than that time. And at one point in my life, the Lord called me to the ministry. That's another long story.
Yeah, I understand that. This is interesting. 27. This is interesting. Now, did you plan becoming a minister?
As far back as I can remember, my own father is called Samuel.
Okay.
He named me after him. I remember as a very young boy, one time I talked with my father and I told my father, Daddy, I want to be the Samuel in the Bible. And my father said, go you. Am I not the Samuel in the Bible? But that was the childish thought. However, it looks like a prophetic thought.
So what you professed at that time is what you are living?
Yes, but I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I grew up not even remembering that I said that to my father. And at the right time, God brought this call. For about 3 years, I was running away from the call. Wherever you go, you see people talking and saying, this kind of ministry is, it's all over you. Then I just put it back. At a certain point, I had to put back a dream I had. I saw a pastor pointing somewhere in the dream, and I look at the finger, and the finger is pointing to Aswa. Aswa means Adventist Seminary of West Africa, and that is in Nigeria.
Okay.
I understood clearly what the man was trying to tell me in the dream, but I put it off.
Were you working by then?
By then I was working.
As what?
I was a law librarian at the Law Reform Commission.
Okay, so you studied at where?
I studied at Legon.
Legon.
Did the librarianship at Legon, yes.
Okay.
But I did the practicals first.
Okay.
I learned it under my cousin, who was the law librarian of the Accra High Court.
Okay.
So in the morning, I would go to Law Reform Commission, and in the afternoon, I would go to the court to do some practicals. And then at a certain point, I went to Legon to polish up academically.
And you left that job to go?
I didn't leave that job until I had a call to the ministry.
Yeah, that is what I'm asking. Because I'm sure by now, if somebody is working in that area, it will be difficult for that person to heed to that small voice and say, I'm going to work for God.
The way it came, I didn't have any doubt about it, because it was like the Lord is pursuing you, and He keeps bringing that agenda to you, and you keep putting it aside. In the dying days when this decision will come, my own father, my late father, I was the only one who goes to massage him in the morning. And I knock at his door in the morning, and he looks, and then he sees me and says, "This is my son, the minister of the gospel."
Wow.
And I froze.
Even then?
I froze. I didn't understand how did he get to know that this thing is chasing me? Then came the dream I told you about also. I still couldn't take the decision. The last straw that broke the camel's back was at the art center. We had gone there to do a play, Egypt to Canaan, written by my mother-in-law. And when we closed, most of the people had left. But a few of us young men were helping to arrange things. And one of the elders, is called Bachanakote, came and stood there looking at us. And then he said, "These are our future ministers of the gospel."
Amen.
It kicked me. In fact, that was the last straw. From that moment, I could not talk again until I got into bus, got home. I went into my single room, laid flat on my face, and began to pray and weep and pray. I said, "Lord, I'm running no more. Take me."
Wow.
From that point, things began to work up, admission and all that. And I didn't even have the money for it. But God raised it through 5 people. And I started.
Well, enough about that. Now, let's move into your married life. Was your wife recommended by someone?
You mean recommendation?
Yes.
No.
Because you hear people saying, as for my wife, somebody recommended her to me and I've never regretted. Maybe yours too was like that.
No, my wife came through prayers.
Pastor, you are saying your wife came through prayers. People have been praying. We've been praying. We are not seeing any sign. How come you were able to see?
My wife came to Aswa,
Okay.
the seminary. She came to do business. And all the Ghanaians, we had a singing group called Maturumen. Maturumen is a Greek word meaning we bear witness.
We bear witness.
I was the leader of the group.
Okay.
And during long backs, we go to some of the states to canvass. It was during the canvassing that I began seeing the virtues in her, because we canvassed together.
Okay.
By canvassing, I mean selling religious books and health books
Bible literature
to raise funds for your school fees.
Okay.
And I saw the virtue, but I was afraid, because my life I've had some experience, and it's put some fear in me about ladies.
Sorry.
The more the fear is there, but they can't take her out of my mind. So I said, okay, this one thing will solve this problem. My Father above has to solve the problem. So I kept fasting and praying and fasting and praying. One day I asked the Lord, if this woman is the woman you want me to marry, I want you to cause rain to rain. I know this is not a raining season, but let it rain today.
You mean you could bargain with God like that?
It's my Father.
Oh, that's
talk.
wonderful.
He still talks. So when I finished the prayers, I left. I was going to the dormitory. Within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the clouds came. And soon, torrential rain.
Wow.
I knelt down in my room, my dormitory, with tears. I praised God and thanked God. So when the rain stopped, I have an answer from my Father. He has chosen for me a woman. I didn't have any doubt in my mind. So I went to the classroom, put my books down. I wanted to go to the ladies' dorm to talk.
Now you have the vim.
And then I saw her coming. And we met in the middle of the road. And we talked. 2 things I told her. She didn't see me at lunch. And she asked, I didn't see you.
So she was coming to look for you?
No, she was coming to the classroom.
Okay.
To study.
Okay.
I had gone to put my books down and I was going to head their direction. And I told her 2 things. I said, yes, I was praying. She said, about what? I said, about you. I said, what about me? I said, I love you. I want to marry you. It's not like boyfriend-girlfriend business, because my father has spoken, so straight to marriage matter. She didn't shake her head. It sounded very okay with her. What she said, let me keep that one. And that began the journey.
Okay.
We could pray together through school, and after school, we immediately came home. First, we went to Liberia to raise some funds through same canvassing, so we can come and do our wedding. And we came and wedded. This was in 1985.
Are you still living together? Are you still married?
The fire is still on. The marriage is still on.
That's good.
It's still fresh. She's still very fresh. When you see her, you see that she's still very fresh.
Why is that so, Pastor? Because people say when you age, you don't see the value. I mean, those things that you used to see. Why are you still seeing those things?
Maybe they change their spectacles. But this one, she's been what she had been right from the beginning. Very peaceful, very loving, very kind, very cooperative, and prayerful.
Now, Pastor, let's look at parenting style. By God's grace, I know you have a beautiful woman, and by God's grace, you have grandchildren. But let's go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, we look at the strategies that you used in raising your child. Let's go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. You are still watching Love at Home.
Hello, my cherished viewers. You are welcome to the program Soldier of the Cross. God is always faithful, and therefore be faithful even when you feel like God is not faithful. We are beginning a new series which we have captured, Hear, O ye child of the Lord. And all these sermons will get you connected to God. There's going to be a broadening of your knowledge, a deepening knowledge about God. And in the end, you are going to be a blessing generator. A blessing generator to yourself and to others. I would rather challenge you that choose faith over worry. Until then, until I come your way, until we meet on that day, stay blessed and be blessed. God richly bless you. Ahua.
Soldier of the Cross, showing this and every Sunday at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you for staying tuned. You're welcome. And the program is still Love at Home. I have here in the studio with me Pastor Dr. Samuel Larmie, who is sharing his life as a father, as a husband, as a gospel worker, and everything. You need to listen. You may learn few things from him. Pastor, before we left, I think we were going to talk about parenting style.
Yeah.
How you were able to raise your child. And now by the grace of God, you have grandchildren out of it. How did you do it?
My wife and I have one child, a girl,
Okay,
now a woman.
that's good.
And we have 2 grandchildren
Praise be to
from her. Child training at home is a mixture of prayer and discipline and love. Prayer, discipline, and love. A home where there's no prayer, and this prayer thing has to be instilled in a child as early as possible, I'm talking about family prayers together. The kids had to be given some assignment, prayer assignment to do. That's what we did. You tell her, go and pray. Do you have a friend? Pray for your friend before you sleep. There has to be a family time when all the family is praying, and there has to be a time when each one is praying. So you litter the place with prayer, and the atmosphere is right to raise up the child. At the same time, discipline must be in the home. I used to use the cane, but not always. I used to have a corner where the cane is, and if she does what is wrong, go and bring the cane.
With your only child, you were beaten here?
Oh, yes.
People don't beat their only...
She needs the discipline.
Okay.
When the delinquency is of the high mark, it's on the high mark, you need a cane. The Bible says that spare the rod and spoil the child. But sometimes it has to come. It must not be the regular thing. But once in a while, you need to use a cane to put some discipline in the child. But you have to do it with a touch of love. What I mean is that if the child does something that is serious, and you feel that it warrants you using the cane, it must be preceded with some conference. With some discussion with the child, so that the child will have come to the understanding that what I did is wrong because of A, B, C, D. Then I'll follow that up and say, because of that, I'm going to cane you. So next time, you remember that this is bad. Go and bring the cane. You bring the cane. We must also know as parents that not every part of the body is good to use a cane on. Cane should not be flagged anyhow. The palm is very solid. That is where to beat. The child stretches the hand, and if I'm beating you and you seem to prove tough, I'll increase the pressure, or I'll increase the number of strokes. Because I want you to feel it. When I finish, I give the cane back to you. And you go. They are used to it psychologically. In the school, teacher uses the cane. So this is teacher and student. We are not co-equals. Unfortunately, some people will punish a child by kicking the child and boxing the child and all that. That is not the right way to train a child.
What is the danger in that, Pastor?
The danger is that if you are kicking a child and you kick somewhere vulnerable, or you are using the cane and the cane accidentally falls on the eye, you maim the child forever. And the child will never forgive you for doing that. Because you did that out of anger. You must not beat your child out of anger. Beat the child out of the love for correction. And that is why you have to talk before. The talking can cool you down. Then you can beat meaningfully. And when you have finished beating, it is good to taper it off. Call your child and hug the child. And the child will hug you. They know how to forgive more than adults. Especially when they understand. Patching up is immediate. And that way, if you come from school, you must discipline yourself. You know you have homework, you must do the homework before you do any other thing. You can't leave the homework and go and be playing. Or that there's television and you want to watch television, so you are not doing your homework. Daddy will not allow that. Mommy will not allow that. Incidentally, we are both disciplinarians. So if I travel, you still can't have your way. Both of us use the cane. So when it is due. At other times, be careful. It's enough. Or shame on you. It's enough. You don't have to use the cane all the time. You use the cane in extreme cases where the child needs to remember this is bad. Then you can use the cane. But love the child. Show that love practically to the child. Play with your child. Don't stand there and dish orders and here and there every time it is formal. It has to be informal times. It's nice when daddy is on the ground and the child is behind your back. He says, I'm riding a horse.
Oh, wonderful.
And we are gelling together.
Yeah.
That love touch must be there as you train a child. If you don't put in that love, you will fail. If every time she has to encounter you or he has to encounter you, it is some boisterous time. No, there has to be some joyful time. Take a time to teach the child. Sometimes they come from school with a load. Friends have said this A, B, C, D, and you need to take out that thing quickly. Sometimes they learn certain vocabularies, they bring it home, they use it. When you hear it, nip it in the bud, because the friends are also teaching them. And all that, gradually, with regular prayers, with regular discipline, and love, you can carry the child through. God comes in and he will do for you what you cannot do. If you leave out God, you can't truly train the child.
Well heard. Thank you. Now, Pastor, let's look at it this way. Now, I want to come into your job or what you were doing. As a minister of the gospel, I guess you were traveling a lot. How were you managing your marriage, your work, and parenting? I mean, how were you doing all this at the same time?
Okay, marriage, work, parenting. There is one principle I kept, especially when I became an administrator at the South Ghana Conference. I saw that I need to show a difference between office and home. So when I close from work and I take a key and put the key in the door and lock it, I lock everything office there. I don't carry office work, I mean office thoughts and things like that, load or whatever, into the house. No, the house is different.
Isn't that easy?
Well, consciously it is possible.
Really?
When I come out of the house, whatever is in the house belongs to the house. It doesn't come to the office. And that way it keeps me calm. Because if you take the load in the office with you to the house, you're not going to make your wife happy, nor your children. You're sitting down there and you're thinking about this and thinking
Always
about
gloomy.
that. And if you're not gloomy, you look too serious. That is not the best thing to do. So it's good to know how to keep office matters in the office and keep home matters in the home. So you don't mix the two of them. And when you do that, it works. I used to travel a lot, as you said. From South Ghana Conference, when I was a departmental director, there are a lot of travels, workshops. When I became a president, it worsened. When I came to the union to become the union secretary, it still worsened. Union president, it was still worse. So here I come home only to take off the next day or so. It's like that. Internally within Ghana and outside Ghana, you have to go to meetings here and there, to the US, to here and then, and you are always on the move. But then one thing that I kept doing, wherever I am on the globe, I'm in touch with my wife because of telephones.
Technology.
Technology. I use that a lot. And she also uses that too, because sometimes she calls me before I'll call. In the morning I wake up, I need to call my wife. I need to know how home is. I need to know how they are. Sometimes I'll call her and she's with the parent and Sammy is calling. That's how she calls me, you know.
Yes, Sammy, yeah.
He's calling and he will listen to me and we'll talk. When I hear her voice, it does something to me. It makes me feel I have somebody waiting for me at home. And when it's the time to come home, I feel good. I feel good. If I'm traveling internally, I'm going to Tamale, I get to Kumasi and I have a stop there, I'll call her. I'm in Kumasi. I get to Sunyani, I'll call her and tell her I'm in Sunyani. We are doing this. I'll be leaving within a short time. And I get to Techiman, I'll have a stop there because at the union you have all these places and there may be issues that you need to touch on before you get to that Tamale. When I get to Tamale, I finally say, I have arrived. One day I didn't do that. I went to Kumasi.
Share that with me.
And I took off in the morning to Kumasi, and I got to Kumasi when it's almost time to start a meeting. So we went into meeting. We had a short break in the afternoon to eat quickly and get back to the meeting, so we did that. And we carried the meeting to the evening. I was so tired, I went and slumped into bed. And early in the morning, I sat in the car and I came home. She asked me, "What happened?" I said, "What happened?" She said, "You didn't call me."
That is not a culture.
"Don't you know that when you call me, I feel good?"
Wow.
I said, "Oh, darling, I'm sorry. Forgive me." And a man should be able to say, "I'm sorry, forgive me." It is not a weakness. It is virtuous to do that. Look into the face of your wife and say, "I'm sorry, forgive me." It doesn't make you any less a man. No. It rather lifts you up in the mind of your wife. And if anything, you are encouraging her also to be able to say, "I'm sorry." So I told her, "I'm sorry." And I never fouled again because I now see the value she places on the thing, and I felt, oh, I was doing something good. Let me continue. That is how I have tried to stay in touch. When I'm home, I'm home. We can talk. While she's in the kitchen, we can talk. When we retire to bed, we can talk there in the bedroom a lot. And then, anytime I'm free on the compound, we are there, or the weekends, and we go to church together too. So,
Pastor, you know, I ask this because you hear people saying that my husband doesn't have time for me, my wife doesn't have time for me. So that is why I wanted to know how you went about it. Are there other ways you can share with us for those people who may be going through such issues?
Family is family. No matter how busy your work is, you must know that family is family. And family is human relations. If you don't think about your family, you will not be a good husband. And if you are a woman, you will not be a good wife. Career these days are taking us away. We still have to keep surprising each other, for instance. Surprises are very good. What you were doing when you were doing the courtship, still continue to do it in the marriage. Some people stop it because they are married and they are settled and so that's it. No, it has to continue. I recall one day I was very sad. Sad because we had gone to this sandwich program at Babcock. I think we're doing the doctorate then. Just about the time we're coming back, she was also sent by ADRA to the US.
Oh.
I said, oh, my friends were teasing me. And I waited for her. Before she would come, I got an idea. So I went to the market, bought a piece of cloth. Said, I will welcome her in a very special way because I've really been through something. Missed her. And then when she got that back, she had things to share. She has brought me some gifts, but before she would present her, I said, this is your welcome.
Oh.
She was like, wow. Those petty things must be carried through.
So you are trying to say that there are no special occasions for us to say, I'm giving gifts. You can give gifts anytime, any day. It shouldn't be special occasions like just only birthdays or something.
No. Birthdays are good to mark with something. And we don't let it pass without marking it with something. Neither me nor her, nor our daughter. When it is her birthday, it is me and her daughter who will collude and then conspire. When it is mine, the two of them will conspire. When it is my daughter's, then father and mother will conspire as to what we're going to do, but we'll hide it. You have to search the fun of it.
Yeah.
And we'll be laughing at you.
Yeah.
You are looking for the thing you're not finding. And I'm very good at hiding things. So we do all kinds of things to spice the living. But gifts must flow, whether it is special occasion or not. You go to town, you know your wife loves something. You know she enjoys it very much. And you see it there. Pick one. Just come home. Drop it on her as a surprise. It can be so small, but it means a lot to the woman. And it means a lot to a man too. The ladies must also know that that also means a lot to them. And she does it to me too. So it has kept us alive. You asked me this question, I said she still looks fresh. She still looks the same way we began. The fire of love in her, the fire of love in me is still there. And I know that by the grace of God, it will carry through.
Amen. Amen. Now, Pastor, let's come back to your job. You started telling us how you went through and all that. I'm sure you were not posted right away to Accra. Maybe you started from somewhere. When you finished Aswa, you were transferred to somewhere, or you were posted to maybe a village to start. How was it like?
During our times, when you come from the seminary, we have the internship program. With the internship program, which was run by the union for all the fields, you'll be taken to places. That gave me opportunity to go to Central Ghana, South Central Ghana, 8 territories, and places like that. You go round, gathering experiences. You work with different pastors. One of the pastors I work with, which I cannot forget, is Pastor J.
Okay.
Pastor J was my mentor.
Okay.
Very practical, down to earth.
Is he alive?
No, he's passed on.
Okay.
He's passed on. And he taught me a lot of practical things. And the way he teaches, he relaxes you. He will say, oh, you have learned this in the classroom, so I don't want to touch it. I said, no. The classroom is theory. This one is practical. Teach me. You must have a teachable spirit, because learning has no end. Even though you are going to do your degree and come back, there's still something to learn practically. And this man would teach me. The internship program took me around the places that the union took me to until I came back and settled then in South Ghana Conference as a departmental director. I was handling stewardship, family life, and temperance at the South Ghana Conference. And I was there. At a certain point, they decided that they are going to open up Southwest, Takoradi. So they had to choose somebody to go, and they asked me to go. So I went to Takoradi. My family was in Accra. And when I got there, there was no housing, so I was pitching with one of the elders. Elder, what do you call his name? Isiam.
Okay.
I was pitching in his house.
Pastor Siam's father?
Yes, Pastor Siam's father. And we were waiting for the house. They are preparing to get ready. Then I'll move in. When the house got ready, it was a time for session because Pastor Pio Mensah had left the conference as the conference president and come to the union. And so South Ghana Conference has to go for a mini session. So I came from Takoradi to join them. The secretary of the conference was around. We all knew that's the one who would be. But it turned out to be that they asked me to be the president. I said, me? Small boy like me, why me? The voice told me, shut up. I know what I'm doing. So I kept quiet and I started praying. And that began administrative work for me, from departmental director to presidency, and I had to learn it on the job. But I've been observing what administrators did for some time as a departmental director, so not everything is new, but there are certain things you have to learn on the job. I did that for some time, and then one of the union sessions, they needed a secretary, and they brought me to the union as union secretary. I worked for 5 years under P.O. Mensah, and when he also was taken to the division, I was asked to be the president of the Ghana Union. So I started serving as the first servant of the country. And we were doing that, and we're going around the fields all over Ghana. So we said, no, let's split it into two.
Yeah.
We have two administrative structures. Administration will move closer to the people and things will go faster.
Yeah.
So we started planning. It took us 3 years to do that. Preparing the fields, contributing certain amounts into one focal point, and gradually we got that new union set up.
Yeah.
So this tend to be southern Ghana, that's tend to the northern Ghana.
Yeah.
And then the load lessened.
Yeah.
Now we can push in more and reach more people, more of the fields at the same time. And I thank God it was a decision that we made at that time. Well, the administrators at that time was me and Pastor Wahu, yes, and Adam Ponsem.
Okay, okay.
It was like they selected us, one come from the north, one from the middle belt, and one from... So when we move anywhere, we are able to manage things at that time. And we said that, you know.
So, Pastor, I am asking this because now we have new pastors coming in, those who are coming straight from school, and they may be posted to the interlands.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if you're a city boy or a city man, and they throw you to a village, it becomes difficult to live and survive. So sometimes they are like, I wish I can't stop. I want you to motivate people like that. What should they look onto? What should they do?
When I was asked to go to Southwest, leave Accra and go to Southwest, one elder, I'm trying to remember who that elder was. He remarked that this man will not go. Gaman go, no. I laughed. Because for me, since I did not go to canvas for it, it's my father who is talking, I'll go.
Okay.
Abraham didn't know where he was going, but he went. Me, I know where I'm going. I'm going to Takoradi. I will go. So people have that notion that if you come from the city, then you must work around the city. No, a pastor doesn't choose where you want to work. You allow God to lead you. And when you allow God to lead you that way, it means that God is with you and God will make you successful. So I went there. Within that short time, we had to do hard work. Lay the grounds very well, do good foundation so that the work can carry on. I didn't keep long there, and I was brought to South Ghana Conference as president. So it depends upon each individual, but I just want to counsel that pastors, don't think about where you're going. If you are asked to go, go. And that's our principle. If you're asked to go, you go. When you go, the Lord knows what He's going to do. But of course, there is another aspect of it. If I'm asked, me for instance, if I'm asked to go somewhere, I will tell my father about it. If God doesn't want me to go, He will tell me. He will find a way of telling me. I would have died in Liberia because Liberia was calling me to come over there. I prayed and prayed and prayed. I didn't get the feedback that I usually get from my father when I ask him that question. So I responded that I may not be able to come this time, but another time. I prayed over it, I'm not getting an answer. And they weren't happy. By that time, Pastor Ewu was there. He was hoping I would come to join him so that we can work as much. But God knew what He was doing. Soon after that, I said no. The war broke out. I said, oh, Daddy, you were saving me from this. And that is why you didn't answer me. You can walk with God as a minister. You have a privilege to talk with God, and He will talk with you. He will direct you. If you don't have to go, He knows what He's going to do. I always tell God, this call, is it coming from you or is it coming from man? If it's coming from you, I'm ready. If it's coming from man, let me know and prevent it.
Well, Pastor, I have a very long question for you.
Yes.
This was sent in by, I guess it's a lady. It's quite lengthy, but I still need to read. Good evening. Please, Pastor, I want to know, you talked about prayer, discipline, and love for our children. My husband is also a pastor, and we do pray for our children, but I want to know about the discipline. Our firstborn is 5 years, and when she comes back home with the homework and he's teaching her, and the child is not able to do as expected, he'll be beating the child or be shouting on her so much. And I want to know if it is supposed to be like that, since he is disciplining the child, or should beating the child, or should beat the child, but should take it easy. Please, I want to know how he should go about it when it comes to discipline.
Children differ, and you must know your child very well. There is a child when you shout on, gets confused and cannot even concentrate on what you are. So when you are teaching the child, there are ways, sometimes the inflection of your voice alone makes the child open up.
Yeah.
I have my grandies at home. Sometimes when they are being taught even how to play the organ, one of them will be given tough time to, so I'll come in and say, hey, cooperate, or you want me to bring cane. I don't mean it. I'm not going to beat you behind the thing, but it's just to
Let us settle.
Sit up, and I'll tell you, okay, if you do well, I'll give you something. Instead of caning behind there, because the caning will bring some cries, and the cry will disrupt the attention and rather worsen the situation. So you have to be careful, because sometimes when you are teaching a child, you, the adult, I teach my grandchildren too. And my wife is a very good teacher. She knows how to handle children very well.
That's good.
But I teach them too. Sometimes something you think the child should know, she doesn't know. It is because you have the greater experience, you know the answers. But it's coming at a certain level. So if you calm down, you'll be able to encourage the child to learn. It is not always that you have to, except if the child misbehaves in a very outlandish way. Then maybe you want to call her attention to that kind of discipline, but it should not be a regular feature. Otherwise, you confuse the child.
Yeah.
The child needs to be given some soft touch when the studies are on. What I don't tolerate is when you have a homework to do and you're going to look at television, watch television. That one,
You won't accept
I won't accept that one.
Okay, so Pastor, there's another one. Good evening, dear. Kudos to Pastor Larmie. I'm just enjoying the program. God bless you, from Mrs. Efabia Latte. He says, God bless you.
Amen. God bless you too.
So, Pastor, let's come back to your working experience. I want you to give advice to the young people. You see, from the way you started talking, I could see that you were not in a hurry for material things. You took your time for God to put you on the path. The youth of today, now, Shafat, we are in a hurry. What advice do you have for us?
You know, should be no hurrying about getting things. Things will come up by God's grace. You should be satisfied at whatever stage you are in, with whatever you have. God's time is the best. Hurrying is overspeeding, and overspeeding can bring accidents.
And it kills.
And it kills sometimes. Sometimes it will disrupt your life completely. You need to exercise patience and be able to pick the things one by one. None of these gray-haired people you see sitting in cars that sprung up and they were in cars. Over the years, they may have even ridden bicycles or used motorcycles before they got to where they got to. With time, your time will come. Because as you grow and getting experiences, you will see that you are increasing in your income, and there are things that you couldn't do but you can do gradually. Move it. I've mentioned that I didn't have a radio. We had to buy our first radio together with my wife. We had to buy our first television with my wife. But we had been spending time watching the television from other rooms because we lived in a compound house before we left to our own parsonage. So gradually, you're not going to be the same. Things will not remain the same with you as you see yourself wherever stage you are. But if you rush, sometimes you will overspeed and you will not see the things you should see on the way. God will give you, but He'll give you at His own time. I will counsel young people not to be rushing. Rushing is not the best way to do it. Thinking about, this man has that, I must have it at this time. But you are young. Your income is not up to what can manage what you want to attempt. And you go in and you are in debt. But you are showing off with what you have. Meanwhile, there's big debt to settle. If you don't settle it, you might go to court for it. And disgrace will come. So we need to be patient as we are growing up. God's time is the best. Allow God to walk you through life. Don't pull the Lord. You can't pull Him. Let Him walk you through life, walk you side, hold your hand and lead you. And that way, when things are coming, they come fine. And when you get to marriage status and you are wanting things, talk about it with your wife. The men, talk with your wife. Discuss things with your wife. Don't plan the thing and begin to implement them. You are no more single. You are two. You are one flesh.
Pastor, Mrs. Salina Latte, he says, kudos. I am learning from you, Pastor. Mrs. Salina Latte, thanks so much for that message. Now, Pastor, let's look at this. I like the aspect where you're talking about debt. Is money important in marriage, or it is love?
Both are important. Both are important. As much as you must maintain love, so must you also manage. You maintain love, but you manage money. You don't let the money manage you.
Okay.
And you must always make sure you are cutting your coat according to the length of cloth that you have. You're not copying and you're not competing with anybody. And so home money management is very, very important. Whatever you, the lady, you have, and whatever the man has, it is the income of the family. There are homes I know where it is not the income of both family. One person will keep his or hers, and the other will. And when it comes to finances in the home, we are disjointed. We are no more one flesh. But when the Bible speaks in Genesis 2:24 and says that, therefore shall a man leave father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they two shall become one flesh, the Bible means everything about it. That one flesh is not, excuse me, bedroom matter alone. It covers the entire marriage relationship, including finance. So when you are not united in finance, you have opened a gap for the devil to create doubts among the two of you. There has to be total unity when it comes to finance. Everything must be open. The woman must know how much the man earns, and the man must know how much the woman earns. Nothing must be secret. Because the moment there is secrecy, there will be suspicion.
Yeah.
And the moment there is suspicion, the love bond between the two of you will dwindle because trust will break down.
Yeah.
And it leads into so many problems. We have sat on so many cases, and you see that the problem is finance. But if finance is handled unitedly, and there is a method to do that, then that aspect of it becoming a source of, I don't believe you, I don't trust you, will be cut off. You won't have problem from that aspect if you manage it unitedly.
Pastor, there's a message from Elder J.B. Fojo, Penkwase SDA Sujane. Enjoying every bit of this interesting program. I used to sing with Pastor Alegon in the group. Yes, YES. So, Pastor, I told you, somebody said you sing very well, so you sing for us before we leave here. Mr. Mark Appiah, God bless you more, Pastor, for these wonderful teachings. So to you, even though you are on retirement, you are still teaching. And I was trying to contact you, and I heard you were in what's the name of the place?
Kwekrom.
Kwekrom.
Okay.
I said, this man is supposed to be on retirement. What is he still doing there? What motivates you to do this?
One, I'm a church pastor.
Okay.
Of Legon.
Okay.
And when the information came, the information said that all pastors must be there. In my hindsight of what I know in the church, it means that there's something new to share.
Okay.
And I must update myself. I mustn't sit down for the laity to go and carry it and come and teach me. I must know it firsthand. I had a problem. The problem was that some appointments have clashed with this. So I had to go to my conference president and discuss how I will manage that. And he gave me the permission. That respect must be accorded to the leadership of the conference. When we work and we come on retirement, we still haven't retired from God's work. We still must give respect to the people in the saddle. The fact that you were a union president doesn't matter. You are a church pastor. And as a church pastor, you must be a church pastor. They are calling pastors, you must be there. In the district, if there's a district meeting and some other appointment is taking me away, I will call my district pastor, Pastor Bidiaba, and tell him, brother, I have this problem. And then he said, okay, it's okay, you go, we'll manage it. I have sought permission from him. You must all the time have that kind of respect for. So I went. And believe you me, there were so many new things that you brought.
Things.
Yes. The union personal ministry director was there. The conference one was there. They were there and they were sharing things. New ideas about how to handle the Sabbath school, turn the Sabbath school into evangelistic tool. And I learned a lot.
That's great.
There is no end to learning. And no matter how experienced you are, you still have something to learn from somebody.
Now our song.
Whoa.
They said you have a very beautiful voice.
What song shall I sing?
I don't know. I've been receiving that message.
I told you to look into my face if you don't know grace. When our discussion, our private discussion, my life is full of grace.
Yes.
So let me sing about grace.
That's great.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found, was blind, but now I see.
Oh, so they were right. You are not an old man, please. And also for that, I don't think you should go on retire. Maybe they should call you back.
I'm very old, though.
God bless you.
You may not see it in my face, but I'm old.
God bless you, Pastor. We want to appreciate the time, the knowledge, and the experience you have shared with us. We have learnt a lot. God continue to bless you. On this note, this has been Love at Home. We have learned, we've listened, and heard so many things. Please take one or two and practice it at home, and you see the grace that will be abound on your family. Let me remind you that on Love at Home we say, love life, love your family, do everything possible to create a loving family and loving home, and enjoy long life. I've been having this discussion with Pastor Dr. Samuel Larmie, who has come here to share with experiences knowledge, everything. Pastor, God bless you.
God bless you too.
This has been your usual host, Efia Sewamansa, and this was Love at Home. Good night. God bless you. Same time Tuesday next week. It is Love Month. We're going to discuss love. How can you share love? What is the difference? What should we know? Please, never leave the dial. From February, you will learn so much. God bless you. Good night. Bye-bye.